if you actually gave up all your habits and addictions, so let's say for me, years ago I gave up dairy and meat and sugar and alcohol, which I didn't really drink much of anyway, but didn't mind a glass of champagne, I'm saying, after living in France. And, all those kind of things, let alone buying stuff or having certain needs that you realise they're irrelevant. And I chose to give them up, not just for myself, but if I'm going to be a clear channel, and I don't mean like someone who's going to channel spirits, but like, a vehicle that can like be of service for people, then I want to be as clear as I can, not just for me, but for them. So starting to embrace that concept of you are here greater, for greater reasons than just yourself.
Yep.
Is also understanding that it's not just about you. And you can look at that as esoteric or not. It doesn't have to be. It depends how far deep down the rabbit hole we go. But we often, in a mundane everyday world, focus on happiness, or what's really popular in the New Age is more the mystical path or the devotional path, where you're praying to the gods and goddesses, praying to the moon, which is a dying planet for the record, has no light of its own. It gets the light from the sun, yet we still think the moon's amazing. A little bit of esoteric trivia there for you.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah.
And
I'll never look at the moon the same now.
You won't.
Yeah.
You're still stuck in the paddle pool, but in a more new agey way. But it's still stuff.
Yep.
You're still looking for the sage sticks and the crystals and the healing bowl. It's still mundane. It's still physical and tangible. We still haven't got to actually bypassing the body physically, emotionally, and mentally. But we can't bypass it until we've done the work. So we can't get to that space where we are completely aligned in one, doing actual esoteric meditation as an example, where you're using complete laser focus to hold a point of tension on a seed thought like a mantra.
Okay.
To align yourself with that vibration, with the energy of that. How can you actually do that if you were drunk the night before?
Yeah.
You have so much debt, you're in a relationship that's toxic, you have no connection to being able to healthily explore and express your emotions, and you eat junk food all the time.
That's a good point.
So
it's a really good point.
Yeah, we have to understand the journey to get where we need to go. So it's not as if there isn't hints of little esoteric things that I'm sharing here, but we have to do the work to get there.
Yes.
So until we've actually aligned ourselves, cleared ourselves, done our work with our physical body, that vehicle, the emotional body and the mental body, and worked on that, and it's consistent work, right? You got to get to a certain point, then you got to keep it up.
Yeah.
Then you're ready for something of a higher caliber to actually do proper meditation. Let's say Raja Yoga, that's the meditation I practice, but I didn't start there, and I could be there for life, until we get to the next phase, which might even be beyond humanity in this turn of the cycle. So it's just understanding where we're at, being okay with that, accepting that, and being real with ourselves.
Yeah.
That's why truth to me is so important, because you're like, I'm hyper spiritual, like we talked about before,
Yeah.
right? Like I take celery juice all the time. It cures everything.
So spiritual.
So uber spiritual.
Yeah, too spiritual.
But not on Fridays and Saturdays. But the rest,
yeah, exactly.
Super spiritual.
Exactly, yeah.
We've got to be honest with ourselves. That's where we're at, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But let's not pretend it's something it's not, and try and live this like yogic lifestyle or Buddhist lifestyle. Be curious about it. Do your work, but also face your reality, who you really are in the mirror, your truth, and start there. Do you need to clean up your physical act, your emotional act, or your mental act, or can each of them do with a little bit of love?
Yes, definitely.
And time and work.
Because that's the hardest part, though. I feel like, especially in my experience at least, but just being totally real with yourself. Like you said, looking in the mirror. I mean, that's figuratively speaking, but also it can be literal. Like looking at yourself and being like, I'm not who I would like to think I am. How do you deal? I'm actually interested in your experience with you saying before that you like a glass of champagne and all that sort of stuff. How did you come to realize that this was actually more of the addiction side of things, as opposed to being like, I'm human and I can actually enjoy this? And then what did you do to transcend that addiction, if you want to use that word?
Yeah. I guess I can honestly say I don't believe I've ever been addicted to anything in my life. I've had a very strong mind in the sense of willpower. If I make a choice and that's it, we're done, I don't go back. Not everyone's like that.
No.
And I understand that. It's just part of my personality, part of my nature. So for me, when I've made a choice, let's say it's even ending a relationship where I still love that person, but it's not right, and I've probably stayed too long, I can then go, no, line the sand, we're done. And I'm out. Really? 100%.
Yeah.
And that's it.
God, I wish I could do that.
But it might have taken a while to get to that point,
yes.
but I get to that point.
Right.
And, if there was a crisis and they needed me, of course I'd help. But otherwise, we're done for all intents and purposes. With champagne, I was doing more tantric study and esoteric study at the time, or preparing myself, beg pardon, for it, like a couple months leading up to it. And I just thought, I need to be completely pure. I don't do coffee and obviously no meat and dairy, all those kind of things. That was a choice. I'm not saying that's for everyone. That was my personal choice. But I felt this was one thing that I actually didn't need. And even though I enjoyed it, like every second weekend to have like 2 glasses of champagne on the beach with my beloved, I loved that. But I thought to myself, what do I love? I love the idea that it seems sophisticated. I love the idea that it reminds me of my second home, which is Paris.
Right.
I love the idea, this concept, this feeling, this thing I was chasing, which didn't last anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the champagne buzz. And I did get a little buzz after one because that was me. But I realised I didn't need it. And so I made a commitment. And it wasn't like, that's it, never again. I'm just like, no, I'm good. I'm done. And I thought, I might go back after the training, but I never did because I changed. Because I realised who I really am and why I'm here. And if I'm here to serve, I'm here to be a clear conduit mentally and emotionally and physically to work with people and to serve and to help, then I need to be the biggest, brightest version of me. And alcohol impinges the mind. Alcohol impinges the brain. Alcohol impinges your emotional reactions, your physical responses, everything. Even, yes, one glass. Not to the extent that one bottle would, but it's accumulative. And I want to have as pure vehicles as I can. So in that sense, it was easy. But if we're just using the champagne concept as an example, months after that, there was a couple of times where we'd go past like a store and I'd be like, oh, and it's like a sunset and you go near the beach and it's like, that's the old pattern. It's like, oh, let's get champagne, a picnic and go to the beach. And I was like, yeah, I know my lower nature would love that right now, but there's no way I'm going to do it because I'm not giving in. I'm not feeding that wolf. And I wouldn't, and I haven't.
Wow.
I didn't go back on that, and it's been years now.
Wow.
But I must say, like that first probably year and a half, I was tested.
Yeah.
And then you go to someone's engagement party or whatever it is, and I'm drinking sparkling water now. It's like I celebrate with San Pellegrino or whatever it is, and I'm okay with that. It's just knowing that I don't choose to feed that part of me because it doesn't serve.
Yeah.
And I actually can look then ahead of it and go, if I did, and maybe I really enjoyed it, how would I feel after? I'd be really disappointed that I've been going for years now and all of a sudden I've gone back. And I know it's just one slip. And let's be honest, when we're trying to beat habits, old patterns, or especially if you do have an addictive nature or you are addicted to a substance or whatever it is, you will slip. It is natural to go back. Most people who are in that space go back. There's only a very small percentage of people that can make that choice and never go back.
Yes.
So I am an extreme case, this example. I'm not by any means, trying to make that sound amazing. It's just, part of my nature. Everyone's different. But we do have to be realistic if we're trying to break habits. We've got to be gentle with ourselves and know that it's not easy. And that most likely we are going to slip, but it's picking ourselves up after we do and then using that discernment, the right choices, the right actions, and knowing, okay, I did that, but I'm not going to do it again. And really working towards that. Maybe next time it will take you 6 months and you might have another slip. And then next time you can do it for a year. And then next time you're on your way. Most addictions actually take at least a year of conscious work, working with someone, whether it's a psych or a counsellor or someone to guide you at the same time as doing the work yourself. So that's kind of, I guess, a real perspective also of not just the extreme perspective that I was, I guess.